Now ask my team to find out if our next speaker is ready for being presented. I see that our speakers are ready, and we are traveling to the next destination, very sunny and very beautiful country, Spain. I'm pleased to announce a next speech, which is called Residency Programs and Business Opportunities in Spain. Our speakers are Maryna Petryk, immigration expert, and Miguel Lopez, international lawyers. Miguel Lopez is founder and director of Miguel Lopez International Lawyers. So Maryna and Miguel will be presenting about Spain, and I would like to ask all our attendees already start asking questions. Maryna and Miguel will answer them at the end of the speech. Maryna and Miguel, please tell me, do you hear me well?
Yes, we hear you.
Okay, great. We do hear you well and see you well as well. So we are very pleased to have you today. This virtual stage is fully yours for the next 30 minutes. Please start your presentation.
Hello, my name is Maryna. I am responsible for English, Russian, and Polish speakers class, and also immigration expert. I would like to introduce you Miguel Lopez. Miguel Lopez is the owner, founder, and the lawyer. And also, I would like to introduce you Javier Sanz de Alcedo. Javier is tax advisor and economist in Miguel Lopez International Lawyers. So, first of all, we will talk today about 10 reasons to choose Spain, types of residence permit, non-profit residence permit, also investor residence and opportunities of investment, and residence for migrant interpretation, business opportunities, and text. Let's start to explain you a little bit about us. So, I don't know, it's like it's move. Okay, so Miguel Lopez International Lawyers is international company with a big experience. We have 20 years experience of the international market and working with international clients. We are a team of lawyers and economists committed to provide solutions for our clients. And Miguel Lopez International Lawyers will emerge excellent in practice with care of people can reach the value of our work. So the main our areas are residence permits, legal supports and real estate tax advice, and for sure, and also creation and operation of a business. This is very important. Uh, our big our big adventures is that our clients with us has like legal security. They get full assistance. We speak many languages. We speak English, Spanish, French, Russian, Polish, so we can support them in their language. We can give them a tax advice that is very popular, and also we give a good quality in guarantees. And when we are talking about the experience, more than 500 investors and their families have obtained residence with us. Also, we give like a personal roadmap for everyone for the future. So let's talk about why do you need to choose Spain. So first of all, for sure, it's about the we have a good medicine, education, safety, quality of life, climate, and economy. Now we are talking more details about I told 10 reasons, but really it's more than 10 reasons. That's why even I here, if you see, I have more than 10 reasons. So as we talk climate, quality of life, the medicine in Spain is one of the best in the world. Medical technology innovations is very interesting to the business opportunities. High level of education, many clients can move to the Spain because of the kids, because they want to give the best education for them. That is the cost is cheaper than, for example, in other countries like in Canada or um, or America, but the quality is very high. The Spain is one of the most supported country in the world. It's very important and also is the most attractive country of investment. We have low labor cost of employers and very competitive global economy, a great business possibility, and maintaining the tax resident in your country. So it's very important things because the fact is that if you want to keep your residence tax residence in your country and have a business in Spain, you can do it. The Javier will talk you about later more detailed. So next reason is the Spain third largest investment market in the Europe. So that's why it's so attractive to the investor who want to invest their money and get the residence for their family in the Spain. Spain give for investor support. We have a stable European monetary system euro, and also a large number. We have a large number of international company. So now we will talking. I will start discuss you about some residency programs. There are many residency programs, so like non-profit residence, investment residence, student residence, work permit residence. But today, I would like to talk with you about the two most popular residency in Spain. It's like non-profit residence, we call it no lucrativa, and investment residence. About investment residence, Miguel will discuss you a little bit later, and I will discuss you about non-lucrative residence or non-profit residence. So, uh, uh, the non-profit residence, the main requirements of the non-profit residence is that you need to show that you have enough money to move and live in Spain and keep your family in Spain during you will stay there. Uh, to the amount is 34,000 euros for the first applicant and 8,000 for each additional family members. As a requirement is annual incomes on the same amount and availability of real estate is a property or is so it's not necessary to invest. It's very important because in this type of residence permit you don't need to invest nothing in Spain. So you don't need to buy a property, you don't need to invest your money. You just need to show that you are independent and you can live in Spain without asking a working permit in Spain. And also not to be a citizen for one of the countries of the Europe is the main requirement of this type of non-profit residence permit. So non-profit residence permit, as we talk about, does not need the investment in Spain. Then it gives a possibility of moving the whole family. The residence permit applies the residence for this type of residence can applies like kids, the children, and the spouse, so wife or husband. As a possibility, it's very interesting because after 1 year of the residence permit, like non-lucrative, you can get the work permit. It's very important. Even and the other very important and interesting things is that the first year you can open your business. You can buy some sharing, open your business. So possibility to open your own business in Spain. So you can have your own business, and after 1 year, if you want, because maybe you don't want to do it, after 1 year you can change the type of residence permit from non-profit for working permit. It's very interesting, and most of our clients to use this possibility, use this type. One another big adventures of this type of residence is that kids who born in Spain can ask their nationality after 1 year, after 1 year of living in Spain. And also, what is very interesting for clients who has or want to have their own business in other countries, that these types of residence allows you to carry out economic activities in other countries. This type of residence permit you will get for 1 year, then will renew it for two, and then you'll get after 5 years you will get 5 year like long-term permit for 5 years. This is have a little bit difference about nationality, um, but it's probably like that you get a nationality. So it's the main requirements of this type of residence. And also this is big adventures that I discuss you about this type of residence. So now I will Miguel will discuss you about types of residence for investors. So Miguel.
Hello, everyone. Let's see, just to add to the great introduction that Maryna has done, let you know that we also give advice in Arabian language, okay? So let's go talk about the investor residence, okay? This kind of residence was introduced by the Spanish government in year 13, and it affects to all the investment that had been done after September 13, okay? The main requirement for this residence is to make three different kind of investment. Okay, the first one and the most usual is to invest in real estate. The amount required for real estate is 500,000 euros plus taxes. Okay. The second kind of investment that allows you to get the investor residence, the so-called golden visa, is to invest 1 million euros in banking products or Spanish companies. Then the third kind of investment that the Spanish law of investor allows you to do is to invest 2 million euros in public debt. But the fact is that after almost 10 years of working with this kind of law, we haven't had any client that is interested in investing 2 million euros in Spanish debt. Okay, so those are the three kind of investment that will allow you to get the investor residence. Then this kind of residence has some of the requirements are similar to the non-lucrative residence, the residence that Maryna has just explained. First of all, and as a second main requirement, is that even if you make an investment, you should also prove that your economy allows you to live in Spain. What does that mean exactly? As Maryna has explained, for the non-lucrative resident, the non-profit residence, you need to prove that depending on how many people it's in the permission, you need to prove that for the first person you have 32,000 euros in bank accounts, and for each person add in the family another 8,000 euros. One difference between this kind of residence and the non-profit residence is that for this one, you just need to prove that you have this money in the bank. You don't need to prove that you have annual incomes for the same amount. Okay, that's one of the main difference of this kind of residence. Okay, then another difference or advantage that this residence gives to the clients is that from the very beginning, they are allowed to work in Spain. So even if, as Maryna has explained, with the other kind of residence, you can create your business from the very beginning, you can be shareholder. In this kind of residence, you can also work in Spain as administrator of the company or working for some other company, okay? That's one of the main difference. Then another important difference is that in the non-profit residence, you are supposed to stay here 6 months every year. in the non-look in the investor residence in the golden visa, you don't have to stay in Spain, not even 1 day per year. This makes a difference if you are worried about the fact of becoming tax residents in Spain. This is a point that Javier, our economist, will explain later. But the general rule to become tax residents in Spain says that if you stay here 6 months, you are supposed to become tax residents, even though there are ways to defend that you have your residence in other country. But if you don't have to stay 6 months to renovate this residence. So this is one problem less that you don't have to prove. You don't have to prove that you have tax residence in other country. Okay. Then another difference is that this kind of residence, as the non-profit residence, allows you to bring your family, but this kind of residence allows you not just to bring your wife or husband and your children below 18 years old, but also allows you to be the parents of the investor and the sons and daughters over 18 years old, if you can prove that they depend on you. Okay, that's another big difference. And then in practice, one important difference between these residents and the non-profit residents is that the process can be done directly here in Spain. Okay, so you don't have to pass through the Spanish consulates in foreign countries that sometimes makes that the process takes longer. In this case, for the investor residence, if you make the residence directly here in Spain, obviously we will have to prepare everything before. But from the moment we present the residence, the average time is between 17 and 1 month, 1.5 months to get directly the residence in Spain. Okay, so that's if you are in a hurry to get the residence, it's easier to deal with investor residence here in Spain than dealing in the consulates. Okay. So, as well as the non-profit residents, with this kind of residence, even if you don't stay here in Spain, your sons and daughters that has been born in Spain after 1 year can apply for citizenship, for Spanish citizenship. And then the rest of the family, after 10 years of residence, they can apply also for the Spanish citizenship. That's one important thing. You don't have to stay in Spain to be able to get the citizenship. Okay. Then, in the same law that creates the investor residence, the fact is that there is another process that if someone wants to create a company that may be interested for Spain, and even with no minimum investment, preparing a business plan of the company and going through a previous process with the Spanish government that has to analyze if this company can be interested for the Spanish economy in terms of creating employment or investment. The Spanish government analyzed we have to prepare a business plan of the company. And as I said, we have to go through a previous process to see if the Spanish government considers that this kind of activity that you want to create, it's interested for the Spanish economy. Okay. In the business plan, the main points that they analyze is the kind of activity you want to do, the economic impact of the investment explained, the number of jobs you create, the innovate aspect that this activity can have, and for sure, if you have financial capacity to create the business. Okay, that's the most important thing that the Spanish government analyze case by case, and if it considers that it's interesting, you will be able to get the residence with the same rights as the investor residence. Okay, then even if Maryna has said before, the service that we provide include not just the residence itself, but all the services that the client may need. I mean, for the family, if they need help with the school of the kids, the opening bank accounts, and anything that the client may need to come to live here with his family. And then for sure, tax advice that my partner Javier will explain you. Sorry.
Hello, good morning. As an economist and tax advisor, I'm going to explain you the possibility to live in Spain and without being a tax resident in Spain. In order to do so, we have to start from two premises that have to be fulfilled. These are: the first one, you have to maintain a home in your country of origin. And the second one is the main economic activity has to be in the country of origin. So, what does the tax office agency here in Spain say? According to the internal regulation of the article number 6 of non-resident taxes, an individual is resident for tax purposes in Spain when any of the following circumstances apply. The first one, that this person stays more than half a year in Spain, 183 days per year. Well, it's very important to say that sporadic absences are not taken into account unless he proves his tax resident is in another country. And we'll talk later about this point. The second point is that the main nucleus or the base of the core of the activity, the economic activity, is located in Spain. Also, likewise, it will be presumed, unless proven otherwise, that a taxpayer has his habitual residence in Spain when, in accordance with the above criteria, his wife and dependent children are habitually resident in Spain. So, how is the tax resident in another country accredited in Spain? Through the tax resident certificate issued by this country. And how? A possibility to avoid the main core of the activity in Spain. You can create an company in Spain, and whose shareholding is composed by the parent company of the country of origin. Now, we are going to talk about the tax residence certificate. In the case that a person can obtain the tax residence certificate in his country, the tax agency won't consider this person as a tax resident, even if this person stays in Spain for half a year. This certificate is valid for 1 year, and it's very important that each year it has to be renewed. Most of European countries follow the same criteria as Spain. Therefore, if you obtain a tax residence certificate from a country that requires more than half a year, you cannot be tax resident in Spain. So, if we are talking in this case about India, taxation of individuals in India is primarily based on their residential status in the relevant tax year. An individual is said to be resident in the tax year if he is physically present for a period of 182 years, so that's more or less half a year, the same as Spain, or the 60-day rule. So it's important that if you have a certificate proving that you are living half a year in a foreign country, you cannot be tax resident in Spain. Well, even if the tax office in Spain try to make you tax resident, we can use the India-Spain double taxation agreement about the point of tax residency. Resident means any person who, under the laws of the state, is subject to taxation by virtue of his domicile, residence, place of business, etc. When a person can be considered a tax resident in both countries, it will be resolved as follows. First point, where he has a permanent resident at his disposal. If he has a home in both countries, he will be considered resident where he has his center of economic interest and personal relations. If not determined by the assumption number 1, it will be considered where he habitually lives. If he lives in both countries, he shall be considered a resident of the state of which he is a national. So, about these points, the main important one is that you have to keep a home in your origin country. You have to keep your main activity in your main country, and you need a tax resident accreditation renewed every year. Comparing, for example, the tax, the percentage of tax you have to pay when you have a company, the corporate income tax, there is a little difference between India and Spain. In India, the lower tax is about 26%, and the higher one is 34.94. In Spain, you pay this when you have benefits. If there are no benefits, no taxes. When you create a new business, the first 2 years of benefits, you only pay the 15%. And from the third year and above, you pay only 25%, the rest of the life of the company. Well, I think that to conclude, that creating, living in Spain is a very high quality life. You are in the European market, you have a lot of opportunities to work, and the taxation is perhaps in more or less the same as other European countries, but you are under a stability of the European market. And I think that's all I can explain right now. And if you have any questions, you are welcome to ask them. No se oye nada.
Hello, hello.
Yes, hello?
Yes, do you hear me? Great. Thank you so much for the wonderful presentation. Everything was very informative, and I'm very glad that we have a third speaker today, Javier, who is an expert in tax advice, which is very useful for our attendees today. So we do have some questions, and first question from Jaya Shri Nagendra. The question is, how can the initial investment be recovered?
Well, perhaps in this question, Miguel is the person that can answer to this question.
Yes.
Yes, Miguel.
Yes,
so
please.
the
Could you
question
repeat the
is
question? Sorry.
from.
We have a problem
Yes,
with the
sure.
audio.
So,
We have to share the microphone.
Sure, no worries. So the question from Jayashri Nagendra, the question is, how can the initial investment be recovered?
How can be recovered? Okay, we will help the client to, that depends on the client, what he wants to invest. And for sure, we give full advice in the searching of the investment, and also for sure in the process of opening bank accounts and do all the process to be able to bring here the money, to pass through the money laundering control that we have here in Spain and in all the Schengen area. And we give full advice to the client to be able to do the investment. That for sure is the client, the one that has to choose with our legal advice and or economical advice.
Thank you so much, Miguel. The next question
You're
from
welcome.
Dhaval Detruya. The question is, are there any privileges for those looking to invest in less developed and thinly populated, for example, Extremadura or Castilla-La Mancha?
You mean depending on the region?
Yes, any privileges for less developed regions?
No, let's see. That depends. You have some help from the different governs, but that depends a lot of what the client what field want to invest. Okay, that needs for sure an individual study of the investment to be able to say which region is better. In the process of residence, is the same for every region. But for sure, if someone wants to create a business in Spain, part of the previous studying is see what kind of activity we have and which is the region where the client may have more help from the government.
Okay, thank you. Next question from
You're welcome.
Simona Radu. Do you offer company formation services, nominee director, secretary, and registered office services?
Yeah, we give full advice when a client wants to create a company. We help them in all the process of creating the company, to register the company, and for sure all needed to carry on with the company, all the accounting and all the needs that the client may have.
Thank you. A question from Satish Rajbhar. What taxes are imposed on a foreign property owner?
What tax? Sorry, can you repeat?
Sure. What taxes are imposed on a foreign property owner?
Okay, a foreign property owner, if the only relationship that he has with Spain, it's a real estate property, he has to pay annually the non-resident annual taxes, that is 24%.
Thank you so much. I believe those
But
interested in
this percentage is not really out of the real value of the property. It's calculated out of a value called catastral, that it's a really low value. Okay, so the non-resident taxes are not that high for foreign properties.
Okay, I would advise that those who have specific questions in taxes would contact Javier maybe for this consultation, right? And
Sure,
we don't
sure.
have any more questions so far from the audience, but I would like to stress that all the contacts of Miguel Lopez lawyers are on the screen. So you may see emails, you may see phone numbers, websites. So please feel free to contact the firm directly for any specific advice, specific question, to book the consultation. Maryna, Miguel, and Javier will be happy to answer all the questions. And I would like to thank you so much for this wonderful presentation. Very informative, very up to date. So we know everything now about Spain and its offers and conditions. So very, very pleased to have you with us today.
Okay, thank you very much.
Thank
Goodbye.
you. Wishing you a very nice day ahead.